to have a short mini lesson to talk about how some of the books we've read have changed us. I love being a teacher.
I'm going to start out by
It's a constant learning experience. Every day is different.
In this class
and the challenges have to do with human beings. I don't deal with paper. I deal with real life issues where there is no right answer for every child. It's a case-by-case basis, and I think that makes it very dynamic.
The conferences that I go to, the workshops that I attend, the professional books that I read are just the greatest part of my learning and keep me going at this stage of after 27 years. It gives me the boost to really keep on working in teaching.
Okay, in this poem that I'm handing out, I want you to see if you can read it just for 3 or 4 minutes and see if you can find any places that the image in your mind changes, or the feeling, the mood, or the tone of the poem changes. And see if you can find the words that help you notice that change, like detectives. Okay?
Being a professional teacher to me means that I have a commitment to every student in my room, and that means I have to go and be responsible with my own homework.
Okay, so we're going to divide up in our groups in just a moment. And we're going to a professional teacher enjoys spending time with kids and enjoys the reading process. Before we begin, does anyone have any just general suggestions on how to make the literature study groups go more smoothly? The true professionals are those that can learn their lessons from kids.
I know it's sort of good to get the conversation going with the vocabulary words, but if that's all you do, it gets kind of boring every time. Maybe you should try things like different ways to get it started each time. So maybe you could, one day you could do like vocabulary words, or the next day you could start out with like a question, or either like your pictures or something.
So think of sort of a more of a burning question to start off the conversation. The true professionals are those who can learn how best to teach kids by teaching kids and by listening to them, and by being good kid watchers and recording notes and turning the things that they observe in the classroom into lessons for kids.
He wears 17 size in pants and 16 size in shoes. What does he weigh?
It's important to stay current through reading and also sharing what you know. So take a moment, if you would, to just sort of scan this, and I'll talk to you about how these came about. It forces you to synthesize the kinds of experiences, the kinds of learning that you do, learning in your classroom from your students, and to be able to synthesize that and to make that and to articulate that to other teachers is really, really important. So there's various things that are involved with this, and some of them, these are things that I've taken right out of classroom conversations. For example, what is reading? I asked kids what is reading, and that came from a chart that I did. As the kids were sitting down, I said, what are some things that you notice? Actually, first I said, we'll take 15 minutes for independent reading and just write down anything you want about how you read. And they were confused by all this. But they've been sort of used to thinking about the reading process from kindergarten and first grade. So I said, just write down anything about how you read. And most of them talked about sounding out words, which is kind of interesting because those words were never uttered by their kindergarten and first grade teacher, those exact words. But you know how kids bring things to school anyway. So after they brought their papers to the carpet up front, I said, now, what is reading? And of course, attending conferences and reading journals and those kinds of things helps to keep you current and professional too.
That summer, I worked with Ella Ratner, a family friend and middle school teacher who tutored me. And during my first session, we did not talk about my spelling, atrocious, or my grammar, which was inept. She read some of my writings, and we talked about my work. And what she said to me that day changed my life. Avi, she said, you're a very interesting person with interesting ideas. If you wrote better, people would know it. To be told that by an adult that I, an ordinary 15-year-old, was interesting, and that if I wrote better, people would know it, provided the classic epiphany.
Professional development is extraordinarily important for us as teachers. We wouldn't be happy if our doctors, our lawyers, our tax advisors didn't continually engage in continuing professional development, and we're no different. Our students change, our curriculum changes, the technology changes, the world is changing, and what we do and how we do it has to be rethought continually. We need to do it together in order to offer the very best possible experiences for all our students.
In order for students to really engage in a text, in a reading program, I think first and foremost a teacher has to be a reader. And a reader who is not afraid to experiment and read different kinds of books. A reader who should come back to the classroom and share her own struggles as well as insights. And to show that reading is a process, that sometimes it's not always going to be enjoyable in the beginning, but it takes sticking to it to get the full appreciation in some cases. So self-examination, I think, is an extremely critical part. And I've had children talk to me about my reading habits, whether I've promised to read a book and I haven't. And I think it's a wonderful relationship you have as a community of readers. Okay, Christina, you're going to share how you chose your book, and then we're all going to start reading the books we chose. Want to tell us what strategies you used?
I made a connection too.
Okay, start off by telling us what strategy you used.
I had came to the first two pages, and it seemed very interesting.
Can you show us, please, because I want Michael to see. Or even that page. What was interesting about that?
It had heavy footsteps coming towards her, and they write how they sound like clumping.
When I got into teaching, I didn't realize the awesome responsibility that I was undertaking, and that is to take someone's child, something as precious as a child, and try to help that child form an identity and develop intellectually, emotionally, socially, on so many, many levels. And after the first few days, I recognized that I could only give what I have. And what I have has to come from a constant evaluation and a constant development, professionally as well as personally.
I will give my principal wonderful credit for professionally developing staff. She believes in, if there are some workshops, seminars, whatever's out there that will enhance our teaching abilities, she lets us know and then gets us signed up. Many times it's on our own time, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And then if we go out, we're kind of responsible to get that information and come back and actually at seminar share. So you may be the teacher of the other teachers for that piece of information that you've gained. So that's wonderful. The professional reading, the actual hands-on workshops. You can't help but grow because you're exposed to these new encounters and you're talking with other colleagues from other situations, and you bring it back and share.
Yeah.
Tasha, I think that is a powerful message to send out about how much your principal supports and encourages you to go out to grow and also to share with each other and grow from each other, because it's becoming harder and harder for teachers to go out of the classroom to grow. Everything is focused on the standardized test, and to be out for one day would be to distract from the testing. And that is just a horrible state of affairs. And so in thinking about those kinds of teachers and their situations, I'm wondering, are there other things that they can turn to that don't involve going out of the building or spending money on workshops, their own money usually, or the school's money? What other things can we generate that would be helpful?
I'm actually in the same position. I feel like, and this is not imposed by my principal or my county, but I just feel anxious about leaving my class because any absence means that those children are not going to be able to get ready. That's another day lost of not teaching, and we've got the standardized tests. So you're actually speaking about someone who's sitting right here saying, where do I go and get this professional development other than reading the books, like I mentioned, and not leave the classroom?
Well, I know one time we came together and watched a video. It was Inquiry in Science, and our principal actually found the series. And so when we met, we had homework. So when we came, that we were prepared as we watched the video, and then we could have, professional discussion and then hopefully go back and implement something that became part of the homework, and then we come back. So it was a video, and it was in-house. Like I said, my principal is very, on fire about professional development, because she knows if we're professionally developed, then it's going to help the kids.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we're bringing back so many strategies and skills and just new ideas.
I really think that what you said is the key, is finding a group of people, because teaching can be such a lonely profession. You're in your classroom, door closed, door not closed, you're still alone in there with a group of kids. And we all have the experience of bumping up against other teachers, rushing from here, rushing to there, trying to get something Xeroxed, and the day goes like this, and then you're exhausted, and you still have to do work after school, but it's a constant on job, and not much time to collaborate and talk and ask for help. So finding someone in your own school is critical, someone you can talk to and learn with and learn from.
Okay, guys, thanks for coming. I know it's tough. It's been like getting ready for conferences and just getting back into the routine after spring break. This meeting came up a little sooner than we anticipated. So thanks for coming. And we got food, so go ahead and jump in whenever you want.
I have a group of friends and teachers in school get together once a month for a teacher literacy group.
So we passed around the sheet. Some of you got it already when we had that little get-together on Monday. Some of you got it from her earlier. But we thought we would kind of talk about some of the engagements she talked about a little further, and then maybe do one. And I think the last thing we were going to talk about was sharing. Some of us have multi-genre sharing. Other people have some other literature sharing. Just our normal sharing group today, okay?
And we talk about literature, literature circles, and literacy activities in general. Teachers just come and we just share ideas, what's been working in our class, what have we tried, what didn't work.
Another first grade teacher.
We also share professional books.
Before, but I thought this might be a good time to reintroduce you to Grand Conversations, Ralph Peterson's book, because the idea of literature circles is to talk. And he makes wonderful suggestions in here about the talk that can happen from literature circles. This is something that's a collection of articles from different people who have done literature circles. It's called Book Talks and Beyond. And it says Getting Ready for Story Talk, Tools of Story Talk, Guiding Book Talk, and Other Responses to Literature. And it goes all the way down to, so what do? The role of the teacher in literature circles. Following children's leads to talk story, how you construct themes.